he's just offered himself up as a good
Yeah,
wee bit of bait, and like from the same side that gets up in arms for the lightest form of fucking humour, if it's
yeah.
considered offensive, it's extremely hypocritical.
No, exactly, exactly, exactly. It's like it, it, this is something they can't like sweep under.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and
okay, yes,
the thing that annoys me is the fact that he never tries to debate any of your points. He
oh,
doesn't even target them. It's just straight goes for a character assassination.
yeah, no, exactly. He's the one that's sitting. No, exactly that. He's calling me egg. So, like, his first comment was the icing on top, and then my second comment.
Yep.
So the first comment to me was he he literally said that I'm not a rebel. Um, I'm not a rebel. Um, I think I'm not a rebel politics or whatever. Fucking what he said. Oh, you're not a political rebel.
Oh yeah.
You're a person who's been made angry and
Oh,
ignorant.
been made angry. Oh yes, your media has convinced you that you must disagree. Not my media. Your media's brainwashing you. My media said so.
No,
I
exactly.
mean, it's a fair argument on both sides because
Yeah,
it is that both sides are saying it. But
yeah,
like, if both sides are saying it, assume that both sides are right. So go outside of both of the sides and look at it from a different angle. Find
yeah.
more sources, find better sources. Look at the news from both sides and verify what you can.
No, exactly. But the funny aspect is he writes that, and then I went to reply back, saying, "Oh, the irony," you know.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even have to write that much. I went, "Oh, the irony," coming from an MSM sheet,
Yeah, and that's
and
that's the thing. Like, if it's gotten to the point where you guys are just devaluing each other on the basis of what news you're watching, but not actually talking about the content of the news, and because if you've made a claim and he debates that claim, he should be able to go, "This is why your claim is wrong," not just,
yeah,
"Oh, did you get that from Fox?" or
no,
"Oh, did you get that from something else?"
exactly. But the funny aspect is not even that. It's just how he started replying to me throughout each of the comments.
Yeah.
I keep bringing up Fauci each time,
Yep.
but like, yes, I insulted him, and then I brought up Fauci,
Yeah.
and then you've seen his comments,
Yeah.
nothing at all. Doesn't touch the Fauci parts, but he goes from shaming, like you literally see like just paragraphs upon paragraphs of nothing but insult, and
Yeah.
it's like, who was the who's the one that's been made angry and ignorant?
Yeah, yeah, like
Yeah,
it's
like,
and then he'd probably he genuinely probably thinks that he won the argument just by insulting you.
oh yeah,
It's like,
no, no, exactly. I think he genuinely thought he won the argument up until you pulled that gay shit,
yeah,
and then when I called him out on the homophobic,
he just runs.
that's
He's like, "Oh fuck, I've got no way to defend this."
no, exactly. He
Delete
can't.
comments and run.
I'm hoping for that. I
Mm.
don't think he will delete his comment.
Nah,
The
probably
fact
not.
that the fact that a troll like him stopped commenting to me
Yeah.
solidifies my point about me winning that argument.
Well, absolutely. Like,
Like,
and at the same time though, he probably just was like, "No, can't be bothered anymore," and then he'll go on to have the same argument, reach that same conclusion, like come up across someone who brings up the same points you do, and then every time he gets to that and decides to disengage, he just stops at that point for
yeah,
no known reason. He doesn't realise, he doesn't know why, he doesn't think about it. It's just,
yeah,
yep, I've won. I've said my bit and I've won.
no, exactly. Nah, exactly. That's why I ended it there. I don't
Yeah.
care how he thought he won or anything.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
just, it's just after that comment, now it solidifies my point
Yeah.
of like, oh, no, 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 doesn't solidify it. It convinced me I won that because here I have a troll who was like, he would reply to every single one of my comments.
Yeah.
And then the last comment, even when I said goodbye, he still tried to get the last word in.
Yeah,
So
he's
he's one of those guys.
still trying to get it, still trying to win it.
Yeah. But after that fucking gay one, and I called him out on it,
Yep.
it's like he's got, like, he doesn't know how to twist it now.
Yeah.
There's no way you could twist it in such a way that would make him come off better.
Yep.
Like, he done good. Like, the fact that on that same thread, he's still replying to people, but he stopped replying to me.
Yeah.
That's what cracked me up about it. Like how I just showed you, like, I scrolling through the paragraphs.
Yeah.
Like that's what I find funny.
Yeah.
Was like where I ended off before. I knew, like what you said, like I know for a fact he's gonna strut around thinking he won.
Oh yeah.
And I was expecting, oh, you're a coward and blow this and blow that.
Yeah.
But the I was expecting that. But at the end of the day, I wasn't just going to reply because there's no point wasting my time with a guy like that.
Absolutely. Like there's no value in it at that point.
Yeah, he already proven my point.
Yeah.
Like, he called me, I'm angry, and like, I've been made angry and ignorant. Yet you look at the two. No.
His responses are nothing but a angry, emotional response.
Yeah.
Like,
so
you hit a nerve, and it has offended him so much that he cannot think straight, cannot think logically. He must resort to petty insults.
Yeah, so his 4 responses, so he does 2 responses for every one of mine. Like, that's how angry he is.
Yeah.
On top of that, it was nonsensical. It was just attacking me and trying to find a way to strike a nerve.
Yeah.
And then I keep laughing. And so that's why I ended up after the 4th one.
Yep.
Then his next 2, so his 1 I didn't respond to because, it was just a 1 paragraph, like,
Yeah.
like, it was like, oh, your head is so far trunk. Yeah. It's like,
Okay, that adds value to the conversation.
Yeah. But what's that 6th one he made?
Yep.
That's what solidified it, and I had to jump on it because I just knew for a fact, like you can keep trolling. You could have kept trolling, but the fact you never replied back or tells me either A, you couldn't spin it, and B, he's not an actual troll. Like, he's legit a fucking retard.
Yeah, like maybe his genuine beliefs, and he just doesn't know how to defend them because he believes them to be correct on the basis that he agrees with them. And that is a big issue. It's when people they believe what they're saying uncritically, and because they believe what they're saying, it's obviously right.
No, exactly. It's a wash.
Yeah.
Like, he's there not to have the conversation.
Well, he's obviously right, so why does he need to converse with someone who's wrong?
Yeah. So, that another thing I should have said something. I should have said it sounds like projecting.
Yeah.
I feel like it is projecting because he has all this built up anger.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming because he's a left winger or like one of those socialists, commie, super tanky. Just like praise Bernie Sanders, praise this, anything Democrat.
Yep.
So, like, anytime you have this conversation, it's just straight, oh, Donald Trump is such a Cheeto. He's like orange guy, but it's nothing substance.
Yeah, it's still just insults based on like intrinsic characteristics.
Yeah.
Like, yes, Cheeto Führer is orange, stupid-looking man. Okay, wonderful, but like, does that actually mean anything, or do you feel better now? You got that off your chest? Like, okay, we can all agree Donald Trump looks funny because he has an orange face.
But at least he's fit.
Yeah.
Like, at least it's not, like, I could easily jump into it, like, but again, if I start doing that, I'll be no better than him.
Exactly, yeah, and then why the fuck even bother? Like,
No, exactly.
if both of you are just gonna throw shit at each other, what's the fucking point of even bothering to talk?
Yeah. And like literally, the main point I would keep bringing up was Dr. Fauci here because what was the video about? Dr.
Yeah,
Fauci.
yeah. Hey, fuck. Imagine
Yeah,
that. Trying to keep the topic related to the content of the original content. Yeah,
yeah, like one, like it's outright like he's like sitting there telling me and another person like you keep bringing up Trump.
yeah,
Yet who was the first person to bring up Trump?
yeah.
Like it's just like holy shit. But like
And that's the other thing. Like, they don't realize that not everyone gives a fuck about people insulting the Cheeto Fuhrer. Like,
no,
it's not a point that you can use in the same way that some people get really offended when you insult pedo Biden.
no, exactly. Even if you offend the right winger, or at least the right wingers now,
Mm.
the ones you call like,
Alt right. Yeah,
oh right, yeah, just anything that's not that's the thing. Like you got leftists and right wingers
mm.
and centralists are all coming together.
Yeah.
Uh, it's just the Democrat butt buddies who um can't just can't see beyond the like honestly can't see beyond like their biases.
Yeah.
But it's just fucking hell. I'm just like
Unfortunately,
like
that's where we are. It's the level of discourse that most people are willing to have. It stops at that.
no, it's just like holy shit. Like you're on a video about Dr. Fauci, and you look at all these criticisms.
Yep.
It's shaming Rand Paul because he's a GOP,
Yeah.
and that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not
Oh,
he's wrong. It's not his argument doesn't take these things into account.
no, it's not. He's a vicious liar. Oh
Yeah.
look, oh, there's nothing that pisses me off about the GOPs.
Yeah.
Look how evil and hateful this guy is. And I'm sitting there going, are you guys listening to the story?
Yeah.
Like, it's about gain of function research. And you got this guy saying, it's not a gain of function. That is undoubtedly, like the way he just, like, that little lispy
Yeah.
little.
He slimes his words out.
Yeah, he's just like, it's not. You have, that is complete and utter lies. This is not what the research is about. And then Rand Paul comes again and goes, so you're telling me when you put spike proteins into another virus and make it virulent and able to affect humans is not a gain of function? And then now you
And
got
it's
a
like
DARPA
that is
report.
correct.
And he goes, no, look, like, and it's not even that. It's like, you go, like, you have him go, no, it's not even that, but it stops. And then you have one of the what's it called again? The councilman going, stop badgering the witness, and
Yeah.
like keeps cutting in, and then cuts down on the time Rand Paul has.
Hmm.
So like even then, like Fauci never gets the answer, and that's how he gets away.
Yeah.
So like Rand Paul's getting annoyed because he's wasting time, he's waffling on Fauci, and he's
Yeah.
not answering. Like this is a yes or no
He's
answer.
dodging the questions, and due to the format of it, he knows that he can just extend his answer and play around the topic, and pretty much just be in contempt of it, but
Yeah.
not get punished for it.
No, exactly. Like, it pisses me off about Congress,
Mm.
like how useless Congress is. But it just shows you like the help this guy's getting.
Yeah.
But no one's asking those questions. They simply go, like they look at the general flow of things, and then they go, it's like they're not listening to the words. It's like, oh, this other senator says he's unreasonable. He is unreasonable. I agree with him.
Yep.
Yeah, fuck Rand Paul. It's like that kind of ridiculousness.
Yeah, and you gotta go. But why?
Yeah, like the definition, like he even reads out the NHI definition of gain of function,
Yep.
and then Rand Paul has to take another step and going, so like what part of it does like it's grabbing a spike protein, because it's a protein that manipulate. It's like, so really put, so okay, sorry.
All good.
The amazing thing about bacteria and viruses,
Mm-hmm.
so you know, you walk around and you think your DNA doesn't change,
Yeah.
and that's to a point true to a
Right.
certain extent. Most of the time, if your DNA is changed or gets damaged, it's probably through like old age and through like um, it's through replication,
Okay.
because like you allow your proteins to run long enough, it will make a mistake,
Yeah.
and it's that mistake that causes mutations.
Right.
But usually there's self-correcting behaviors that happens from destroying the cell
Mm-hmm.
to there'll be I think another protein that will replace what's broken, that will
Right.
repair it.
Mm-hmm.
So there are self-correcting measures,
Yep.
and there are proof checking ways, but again there's chances where it does like fail even further.
Yeah.
Then there's like sunlight, radiation.
Mm-hmm.
So you walk out, so so you get skin cancer.
Yep.
And it's just cancer's basically cells just going out of control.
Yeah.
So your cells are all good soldiers. They line up. They follow what your body process.
Yeah.
Cancer's sort of like a rebel,
Mm-hmm.
or like another living organism on its own.
Yeah.
Legit. Like it repairs, it breeds, it literally can send signals into your capillaries and tell your capillaries to grow more into its direction
Right.
and to feed it.
Yep.
That's how crazy cancer is.
Mm-hmm.
So you could be eating and then producing all this thing, but you're sitting there and feeding this cancer. It's like a parasite.
Yeah.
And then the reason your blood cells doesn't attack it is because it registers you.
Yeah. It's been tricked. It thinks it's. Oh no, that's just. Oh mate from down the bloodstream. He's just.
Yeah.
He moved in recently. Bit odd. Didn't realise people moved in, moved out. But yeah, no, seems like a nice guy.
Yeah. Because this is how, like, usually the most common tactic would be, so your cells starts gaining cancer-like properties, starts growing, and it starts not behaving.
Yep.
Your white blood cells will come over and they go, okay, this is bad, exterminate.
Right.
That's how it should that's how your body corrects it
Yep.
every time when there's a mistake happen.
Mhm.
But sometimes that mutation will flick it, so your cells, that cancer cell, decide.
Yep.
They go, it knows how to send signals and tell, no, I'm part of you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's one hallmark
Mhm.
of cancer, and it just, so that's one, it's able to invade your immune system by tricking it.
Yeah.
So and then the next one is just proliferating.
Mhm.
So before it's cancer, it's usually always a tumor. So cancer is just a tumor out of control.
Yeah.
So when people go to check and go, oh, you got a tumor, but don't worry, or a neoplast,
Yeah.
like, so they see a growth,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's like, oh, we have to keep an eye on it. And usually it will stay dormant.
Yeah.
But it's still growing, but it's like, it's a psychopath before it becomes a psychopath murderer. You just hope that psychopath has something else that keeps it entertained.
Yeah.
Or hopefully it's like Dexter and goes around killing other psychopaths.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? Like, not every psychopath would come to being a murderer. And the same thing, like, not all your... But it's still a bit of a worry. You need to keep an eye on it.
Mhm.
And it can, like, all it requires, it just comes across one mutation
Mhm.
through its replication that it just goes, boom, okay, let's start invading. Let's start growing out of control.
Yep.
Even though it's unorderly, it's a growth. It's not growing in the specific pattern how
Right.
your
Okay.
body tells you.
Hmm.
It's just a lump.
Yep.
Right there. Now it's like, okay, let's spread throughout your body. Let's just keep growing. Let's start pulling like blood pillaries into your um, cells. Uh, that's what cancer is, and then it starts just draining your energy, and depending where that lump is, having a massive lump in certain areas could disrupt how your body works.
Yep.
You know, a lump in your airway, how you're going to breathe.
Yeah.
Sort of things. Like in your brain, a lump that's there could affect how your brain works and might give you seizures.
Yeah. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Brain's a pretty delicate thing.
Exactly. It kind of needs its space. It kind of needs certain areas.
Yep.
Um, and it's not something you can just start cutting out. Oh, you can cut out a bit, but
Yeah.
it's a bit iffy where it is.
It's not the ideal first protocol.
Mm. If you don't want to learn, if you don't want to lose that memory of your first kiss,
Yeah.
yeah. Or your first, yeah. Imagine losing your memory of playing Halo 1 first
Oh
time.
no, can't do
I
that.
don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose that
That
memory.
that is precious. Yeah.
um, but that's so yeah, and so mutations can come in different ways. Like sunlight, what happens is it hits your DNA,
Hmm.
and so you know how I was talking to your ATCG.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think one of the mutations is TT.
Okay.
Yeah, so hit an A and it turns into a T or something.
Yeah.
But it's like a TT mutation.
Yeah.
Whether if it grows into something is totally different.
Right. Okay.
Most of the time it die, but like a mole is a growth.
Yeah.
Um, so you see those moles, like really you should be getting it checked out.
Yeah.
But I don't know what a full-time skin cancer looks like.
Oh, okay.
But I'm assuming because it's cancer, it's growths.
Yeah.
But on your skin.
Yeah.
But so, but usually most of the time it will always correct it, and like your body has ways to correcting mutation.
Yeah.
Another mutation would be just, I guess, if science gets any better, they can force it through
Right.
chemicals.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? Oh, another one is like so. There's this the epigenetic side of things. This one is quite funky shit.
Okay.
So your DNA can have a chance of just jumping.
Right.
So it's not as simple as like this DNA is together. So I forgot, it was like over 60%. It's quite a lot.
Yep.
Where a lot of your DNA is actual. Originally, it was thought to be junk DNA, but it's
Okay.
not junk.
Yeah.
It still has there's there's a lot of coding that doesn't, like, only 1% of your DNA is turned into proteins.
Okay.
So, and what's important about proteins? Well, a lot of things actually. Like, just think of like enzymes as a protein. Imagine how many enzymes are in your body that gets created.
Yep.
Your muscles is protein,
Mhm.
and your cells need protein for buildings and shit. Like,
Yeah. Right.
protein is just a broad term for like chemical components.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's in, and only 1% of your DNA codes for it. 1%. The rest, they do hold codes,
Yep.
and they do other things. I forgot how much is a percentage of
Right.
it.
Yeah.
But then there's like about 60% that is scientists don't know what it does.
Okay.
And then on top of that, at one point, it was considered junk DNA.
Right.
Just like like dormant. So like I think one of the idea is if you could stretch it back, you could sort of tell where your ancestry is.
Okay.
So like I guess like you could tell like there'll be like coding features that allowed us to grow more hair on our body and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the like speculation. Either way, you could use it as a mapping to tell where our like where we used to come from.
Hmm.
And you could also argue this is probably some of that DNA was used when we were in the womb.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, you look
Yeah.
at the fetus, like you look at a horse fetus, our fetus, um, a monkey fetus,
Yeah.
even a fish embryo, you know, like that early development, they all look similar.
Right.
You know, that real fishy tadpole stage body type
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha.
Um, so I guess that's where some of that DNA is used.
Yeah.
But then whether it's on or off is a different matter in your like when you grow into the creature you're meant to be,
Yep.
not what you think you are.
Yeah.
Sorry, the trans community.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, they're not real people. It's fine.
um, so it's a plan, but
Yeah.
now here's a fucky thing.
Hmm.
There's a thing called jumping DNA or jumping gene.
Okay.
So DNA can jump and switch, and because the pieces come together, it creates a gene.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
and that could appear
yeah.
throughout your
Yeah.
life.
Okay.
And this study is called epigenetic. That's one aspect.
Yeah.
Another one is epigenetics. Just talks about like how the environment can affect your DNA. So
Right.
you know how. So I never really got to this, and I keep jumping but forgetting to tell you this.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Go.
you know, I
Go
was
for it.
talking to about Charles Darwin, and then
Yeah.
there was that other dude who took his message wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I remember
Yeah.
that one. Yep.
Here's the funny thing. That guy's idea, I think his name's called Lazarin or Lazar or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, he might not be actually entirely wrong.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in what regard? Like what context?
So DNA, when it's all packed together,
Yep.
you know how like you go into small things, you forget at the end of the day, like they still hold a physical position. It just doesn't magically happen.
Yep.
So you know, like when I was talking to you in the cells, like they literally have these walking things that delivers like chemicals and protein.
Yeah.
It doesn't just float to one side and just magically appears. There needs
Yeah.
to be something to transport it.
Mhm.
And the fact that at its most basic chemical form, life decides walking, like you know, little legs that moves it across. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I'm using life as like a person. Yes, I'm personifying it, but it's just to get a point across.
Right. Of course.
Just how amazing it is. But like you think about it this way, there's a vehicle and a transport
Yep.
as basic as that, and then your cells actually have highway.
Right.
So like they're not just swimming everywhere. There's like particular routes, like a rope, a mapping system within it.
Yep.
That they follow through. And then I think it creates itself. I think it's called actin or something like that, or
Okay.
actin bridges or something like that. It's like these chemical components. It's quite amazing. It breaks up and like you know, in those platformer games. You remember I think it's Jack and Dexter.
Yep.
Like when you stand in that platform and you move that other platform around, and it keeps going in a circle.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
You're meant to jump on the next one, and you sort of create your path across.
Right.
And
Okay.
you're only using those two blocks.
Yeah.
And you basically every time you step on one, it rotates the other to its position.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So you're able to cross this massive gap.
Yeah.
So this is a Jack and Dexter one. You probably have come across it.
Yep.
As this floating platform, but you're able to cross these massive gaps with only two blocks because you just start doing that leapfrogging.
Yeah. 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 Gotcha.
that's what actin this is what these bridges does. So like it creates this pylon. It's all these proteins floating, but it comes together into this one like stick,
Okay.
and it can move the cell.
Yep.
So they all come together and they start moving the cell together.
Yep.
Like pulling on it. But they can also act as like little roads for these like walking things, and they break apart and they start moving across like leapfrogging.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's how they get across. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
It's just,
yeah. That's cool.
but that's its basic form.
Yeah.
But yeah. So now think of it like DNA.
Mhm.
You're talking about I think it's something silly like these are things like nanometers long
Yeah.
or micrometers long. That I like there's a story where you can unfill it and it'll be like a DNA you can unfill that DNA and it'll be about like a centimeter long,
Okay.
and they have to fit it into something that's like micrometers wide,
Yeah.
like very small. So like you're talking about something that's packed, very packed, and then they have what like 23 um 23 of those DNAs, which makes 46
Yeah.
chromosome. So 23 chromosomes, I think. I'm not sure about the numbers, but all of that to fit in the nucleus.
Yeah. Right. Right.
So the point is, it's packed as fuck.
Yep.
So, and it's all coiled up together. So here's this funny thing.
Mhm.
Most of that DNA would stay just coiled up, and when your body wants a protein, it has to uncoil it and then unzip it and then copy a section,
Okay.
and that becomes mRNA,
Yeah.
messenger RNA, and that piece goes outside your body.
Yep.
Oh no, goes outside the nucleus and stays in the cell, and that's the blueprint. And then another cell, it's usually tRNAs
Yep.
that come and they bring the protein and then they start stitching it,
Yep.
and then they create the protein that they create. So they'll come in and then they will go, okay, so you're this section.
Yep.
Oh, I'm carrying this chemical on my back.
Right.
And then all of these like tRNAs comes together, and this enzyme is like stitching together, and that long line of chemicals starts to fold and shape itself into a structure, and that becomes your protein.
Yep.
Or whatever that thing it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's how your body works.
Right.
So what? And then here's the thing. So apparently DNA,
Yep.
right, then have to close and then has to recoil up again.
Okay. Yeah.
That takes a lot of effort.
Yeah.
So this is where this Lazaran thing happened.
Mhm.
So there's apparently works on. So if you want your kid to be real very mitostropic kind of. So if you want your son to be very muscular or be able to build muscle more easily,
Yeah.
apparently, you can do it just by building muscles yourself.
Right.
So
Yeah.
what happened is so I think one of the thing that they found out was the reason our generation is so fat or so readily eating we pack on fat easily.
Yep.
Because we did come out of the generation of Great Depression.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or at least so what happened is generation that got influenced by the environment can affect the DNA of the kids of the next generation.
Okay.
And even within a lifetime. So because they had this no, not our the boomer generation really.
Yeah.
So the generation that was born out of the Great Depression, or at least World War II, World War One, where food was very scarce.
Yep.
So it's not the case that there's there's that as well.
Yeah.
But it seems like the next generation has this unnatural ability of stocking up food because
Oh, yeah.
of the starvation the parents went through,
Yep.
which is a bit crazy, but this is exactly what that guy was saying.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't work with everything, but it works on a certain aspect.
Oh,
So,
okay.
like, it's not to the point where it's like, I need eyes at the back of my head and my eyes start growing at the back of the head
Yeah, yeah.
as you go past.
But
But
would it be sort of like if you regularly used your peripheral vision, you'd probably through time develop a wider field of view, like
sure,
generationally.
sure, yeah, yeah. So that's and only if there was a protein that allows for it,
Yep.
or you have a DNA for it.
Yeah. Right.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Um, so we still need that inheritability.
Hmm.
Um, but in the case with the starvation is because there are proteins in your body that um, stores fat.
Okay. Yeah.
So you know how I was telling you it's called that your body starts to get lazy, and there are places of your DNA that would, which includes building muscles.
Right.
So making proteins that builds muscles easier.
Yeah.
So the idea about it is, there's some cases because it's been used quite a bit, your body goes, okay, we'll leave it like this,
Yeah.
sort of uncoiled, because we're most likely going to be using it again.
Right. Yeah.
And then it stays like that. It's like a behavior thing
Okay.
towards it.
Yeah.
Instead of just coiling up and then have to uncoil it and to redo it, your body will just sort of leave it lax, so it's sort of mid coil.
Yeah.
So when it's like, oh shit, we need more of that,
Yeah.
it's like, oh cool, it's already open. Let's open it and fix it. So
Oh, okay.
that's where the points. So to a lesser degree, it's somewhat true,
Okay.
and so this generation who has, I think, like they can eat the food, but it's going to
Yeah.
store it fat straight away because
Right.
it was imprinted into it that the parents kept starving or not getting enough food.
Yeah. So it needs to be more efficient processing food.
Yeah, yeah. Which sadly didn't think that humans would, you know.
Well, yeah. It's not a
Yeah.
it's not a conscious choice. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And then, so one of the examples is you could do muscle.
Hmm.
So, like, if you lived for a period of time where you're bodybuilding and just keep using so your body kept opening and building muscles and you keep breaking it. So
Yeah.
basically, you're just living a life of bodybuilding.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have sex within that time period while you're making uh, kids.
Hmm.
This guy put this example up, so I was getting this out. So, oh, that makes sense.
Yep.
Um, your kid during that time when you're bodybuilding,
Yep.
could effectively start building muscles more naturally if
Right.
you had your kid during the time when you weren't bodybuilding.
Yep.
So, yes, he won't come out muscly, but like when he starts lifting weights, he starts to develop it more and stuff
Oh,
like
okay.
that
Yeah.
because it's just natural to him. And then you could be sitting there, that's genetics for him.
Yeah.
But in reality, yes, that is genetics, but it was aided by your lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So there's this aspect, and then it's like this guy that everyone called the fool and laughed at. His ideas is
He's
not
actually
entirely.
correct. Yeah. Or so,
Yeah,
he's got his ideas have merit.
yeah, exactly. So he's not entirely wrong in the
Yep.
situation, and yeah, and at the same time, I don't shame him. Like the guy was a think. He was trying to think, even
Absolutely. Yeah.
though like I can't shame him. Like everyone has their bad thoughts.
Yeah.
Everyone has their and I don't know what he's like as a person, but since he's a thinker, I'm going to give him the lenience of doubt
Yep.
and say, like, he's probably a nice guy.
Probably. Yeah.
Just, yeah.
Let's hope.
let's hope he was. But at the same time, I have respect for like guys coming up with crazy facts, you know.
Yeah,
Um, at least they're not afraid. Like how many people can just sit there and proclaim the idea,
yeah,
especially at a time when they at this like you can't fault him. Like everyone is just at the start and they thinking about the stuff.
yeah, exactly. It's not. It's really uncharitable to just go. Like he's an idiot because with all the tools he had available to him, he got this wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Hindsight is always 2020. You
Yeah,
know, it's just it's so easy to criticize a guy because we live in the 21st century.
yeah,
Um, Shaming a guy who came out the same time with Charles Darwin and
mm,
was loving his ideas, and he was expanding, 1800 people.
yeah.
That's 1800s? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 1800s. Ah, I typed up Charlie Darwin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 1882
Okay.
is when he died.
Yeah,
So they'll be coming up with that theory around about like 1850s.
yeah.
And that's crazy. That's when the Wild West happened, when you think about it.
Oh yeah. Fuck, it's so odd to put those things in like a timeline with each other.
I know. Like, this is around the same time the Civil War was
Yep.
happening. So the slaves just got freed.
Yeah.
And then there's some badass name, the man with no name, or Blondie, just go around blasting up cunts. Yes, I know he's a fake person.
Yeah.
But can you imagine it? Like, that's set that time,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know? Just that whole, it's like, my Merle doesn't like it. People laugh at him. He gets the funny thoughts that you guys are laughing at him. Yeah, holy shit. And that's also no, never.
What's up?
That'll be 1600s. Hey,
Oh, what's happening then?
I'm thinking of pirates like
Oh,
Blackbeard.
yeah, yeah.
That's about
The golden age of piracy.
yeah, yeah. That's 1600s. Hey,
Around then, maybe later. When? Fuck. Oh, I'll just do the googly.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
But I love putting those together. As soon as I saw the number, all I'm thinking about is
oh no,
cowboys.
1700s was Blackbeard.
Oh
Fucking
my
hell!
god! So
Get
that's
get get this. Get this.
well,
Blackbeard was only active for 2 years.
yeah. That surprised me. But he's been out on the sea for about a decade, eh?
Oh yeah, I'm just meaning in terms of like the legacy he has.
That's great. Is that what is Luffy following that?
Yeah,
You think about it,
yeah,
that guy's on his third year bend
yeah.
because all the shit he done was within a year, and
Yep.
then he had the 2 year time skip, and then now he's a couple months into his next voyage, and he's already fighting a Yonko.
Yeah. Okay, so the golden age of piracy is effectively 1650 to 1720. That's what the googly tells me.
Oh right.
Yeah.
And then what's crazy is like Napoleon's war was around about 1800s.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
holy So to think Charles Darwin is just sitting there looking at birds while people are having wars and
Yeah,
guys just
just
going around,
all these big scraps going down.
yeah. And that's like it just shows you like what cracks me up is like because I'm pretty sure he was on the same boat as who did it? I'm pretty sure Charles Darwin travelled with Captain Cook.
Not too sure.
Because I did know Charles Darwin came to New Zealand,
Right. Fuck, that's cool.
but he. Oh no! Sorry,
Oh, did he
Captain
not?
Cook. No, definitely not. You're talking about like, I guess a good solid 50 years separate.
Oh, yeah. 50-year
So
time skip.
no, exactly. Yeah. It's no. Actually, funny thing is, it'll be equivalent between um um uh One Piece reference. It'll be the equivalent of a generational gap between um Goldie Roger
Yeah.
and Luffy.
Right.
That's so like a legit like a solid. So like um he was born in 1728,
Hmm.
died in 1779.
Right.
Charles Darwin is 1802
Oh, yeah.
to 1882. So
Yeah.
1809 is when he's born. 1882 is. So he's probably sitting there going, "I want to be the."
I want to be the Pirate King.
Yeah. I'll follow my steps of the great cook, James S. Cook,
Yes.
the Will of S.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Charles did come. He didn't have any nice things to say about New Zealand.
Oh, okay. Did he dislike the place?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool.
Um,
What was the reason?
there's a couple of reasons.
Yeah.
At that point in the voyage, he was already pretty much sick of the voyage.
Oh, so he was just done with sailing.
Big time. So, and considering New Zealand is so fucking far off,
Yeah.
and
The
then
furthest you could fucking go.
yeah, no, exactly.
Because
So
how long did it take to sail? Or how long was this voyage? I guess.
it was a couple of years actually.
Right.
I'll look for it. Um, because at that point he was actually pretty much done, and he was feeling sick as well.
Right. Okay.
And by the time he got to New Zealand, he's like the natives are, the natives are vicious or something like that,
Oh yeah.
and the nature is dull and boring.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like that's what he said. So like he shamed our natives as
Yep.
well as shaming our. Oh, he's like the natives are vicious, but also like as dull as the birds, or something like that. It was pretty mean, like what he said.
Yeah.
I'm a diary.
Yep.
Um, and I remember the guy was telling us, I was like, oh damn. But he also mentioned like you got to remember at this point, the guy was I think sick. So I think he was sick on the voyage,
Yep.
and at that point he was pretty much done with the sailing part. He
Yeah.
wanted to go home.
Mhm.
Um,
Poor cunt's only halfway there. He's still gonna go back.
yeah, no, exactly. Um, fuck. Oh, look down. There's a guy, when he said it, it's like, I wish he actually saw it now. He would be very interested in our ecosystem.
Right. Okay.
Oh, partly because just how weird our ecosystem is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like you could understand, like at first glance, you would think our ecosystem is shit,
Mhm.
but actually, because like a lot of people started looking into it, like since. Yeah, like it still isn't looked as much, but I think it's starting to get noticed
Okay.
about our like birds and stuff like that.
Yep.
Um. Yeah.
They should really have a look at the ecosystem of the West Coast.
True.
One of the harshest, most inhospitable fucking places in the world. That's full of life.
Yeah. Because I always hear about our like jungle's pretty fucking harsh,
Oh
eh?
yeah, it's
Even though,
it's cold, damp, and thick.
yeah. Because we use it, because apparently it's a very good training for the SAS to
Yep.
survive it.
Oh yeah.
And the funny thing about our ecology is we don't have. Yes, we have like deers and that could hurt us.
Mm.
That can hurt us. Um, but we don't have bears,
There's nothing
crocodiles,
dangerous, eh?
yeah, or even poisonous shit.
Mm.
But hold me on the poisonous shit.
Yeah.
I mean the venomous shit. Like we don't have like the Brazilian wandering spider that will just crawl in and
Ugh.
nip you
Nah.
and you die with an erection.
Nah.
Yeah. Those fucking things are big and they go wandering,
Nah.
as the name
The
suggests.
only like the only proper way to walk through the Amazon is with just a circle of fire around you.
No, exactly. Because when you I think in the Amazon,
Yeah.
if you go to sleep in it, you know, like you can't just do the traditional and put a tent down.
Yeah.
You have to do hammocks.
Yeah. Well, like when
Um,
I was in Malaysia and I was sleeping on the ground, had a snake come cuddle with me for a bit.
yeah, exactly. That's why you go for hammocks,
Yeah.
because it's most likely some crawlies or a snake just, hello,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna take a little bite on you. Nip.
Yeah. Oh, you taste nice. Oh, fuck off. Get.
Oh, I just only gave you a love bite. Why you did? And you're
Yeah.
just sitting there like having a seizure.
Just nah. Gone.
Um, so in 1831, Charles Darwin received an astounding invitation to join the HMS Beagle as ship's naturalist for a trip around the world.
Yeah.
For most of the next 5 years, the Beagles surveyed the coast of South America, leaving Darwin free to explore the continent and islands, including the Galapagos.
Yeah.
And they just put a full stop there.
Fuck.
But they opened up like it's going to be like a line, like including the Galapagos.
And nothing else. Nothing
Nothing
else
else.
of significance. Cool.
Yep, just a full stop.
Yeah.
Also, no. Who funded the Charles Darwin voyage? Donald John Jones.
Donald
Don
J. Trump.
Donald Jones, working with the Darwin's notes. Oh, working with Darwin's notes and manuscript for the past 10 years, as noted by others, the voyage of the HMS Beagle was funded by the British government. In respect to this, what happened on Charles Darwin's voyage in 1831 when Darwin was only 22 years old, he set sail on a scientific expedition on a ship called the HMS Beagle. He was the naturalist on the voyage. As a naturalist, it was his job to observe. Oh, yeah. Oh, it was really okay. There was questions and um. Okay, I was hoping there would be more, but
Yeah.
so yeah. So I guess his voyage was about 5 years.
Right.
Um. Yeah. Charles Darwin visited New Zealand in December 1835 and
Yeah.
Australia from January until March 9, 1836. On the return portion of his voyage around the world in the HMS Beagle. Oh, so they hit New Zealand and then went to Australia as they were returning. Oh, cool. What countries did the Beagle visit? Captained by Robert Fitzroy,
Mhm.
the second voyage of the HMS Beagle lasted until 2 2nd of October 1836 and saw the crew visit locations as varied as Brazil, Terra del Fuego. Who's this? Must be a South American. Oh, Argentina.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah. Terra del Fuego is an archipelago off the southernmost tip of South American mainland across the Strait of Magellan. The archipelago consists of a main island, Grande Terra del Fuego, with an area of 48,100 kilometers square, and a group of mini islands including Cape Horn and Diego Ramirez Island. Ramirez. Ooh. South Africa, New Zealand,
Yep.
and Azores. Fuck, that's a name. This fucking place. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
The Azores Island, Portugal. Ah, it's a nice little. Oh, it's got a little lake in there.
Oh, yeah.
That's the name. Interested. Okay. Let's look what he says about New Zealand. Because he read a diary, it wasn't quite nice what he said. But
Oh, yeah. Oh,
can't blame him. He had a
yeah.
sore stomach. Yeah. Darwin's visit to the Bay of Plenties on Beagle was brief and unspectacular from his point of view. The Beagle's captain, Robert Fitzroy, later served as the second governor of New Zealand.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, makes sense. He's travelling.
Yeah.
New Zealand was a short stopover on Fritz's 5-year expedition, the main aims of which were to chart the southern coast of South America and run a chain of chronometric readings used to determine precise longitude around the globe. The trip was an ideal opportunity for scientists to collect specimens around the world, and after some inquiries, Charles Darwin, a promising young naturalist, recent Cambridge graduate, was
Yep.
for the job. Beagle set sail in December 1881 and arrived in Bay of Plenty 4 years later. So this was his 4th year of the. Okay, oh yeah. So yeah. Okay, they can't they just put a? This is what fucks me off about these like articles.
Right.
So I'm on the New Zealand history, but like it's just single quotes, and then can't you just stick what he wrote so I can read it?
Oh, okay, they're doing that.
Because I do remember when I was saying natives, he did rip into the Māoris, but he also ripped into the New Zealanders as well.
Oh yeah.
Just a
Because
tiny
what was he like? Was he a monarchist, or what were his political alignments?
bit. That I don't know. I do know he was this English guy who came from a very rich family, a well-off family.
Yeah.
Because it was interesting because you have him and there was another scientist who was coming to the natural selection side,
Oh yeah.
and I think he was from Russia, but I think he was from Russia,
Hmm.
and he was studying
Right. Okay.
butterflies. He was looking at butterflies and he noticed there was difference. But what was an interesting contrast is you got Charles Darwin, who was a very rich, well-off person, and
Yeah.
this other dude who was essentially the equivalent of a middle-class person,
Yeah.
or even a lower-class person. But he got his hands into naturalists, and then he funded his own trip, and he was looking at butterflies, and he was coming to the similar idea of what Charles Darwin saw at the
Archipelago.
Pelagos
Yeah.
with the birds.
Hmm.
With the birds.
Yeah.
The Galapagos. Fuck. You know
Galapagos.
what
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that place with the fucking turtles.
Mm.
Tortoises.
Yeah.
Giant tortoises. And he read his letter, how he was sort of going to this idea, and Darwin, because Darwin had this idea, and they were sort of sending letters to each other, and the guy was like, "Oh, you should do it. It's amazing," but he was going to just put it off.
Right.
If it wasn't for that letter that guy wrote, Charles wouldn't have written his
Oh.
book, because he read his book, but he's going to leak like he he had an issue, like I think he was afraid of it getting criticized, and he thought it was a bit out there,
Oh.
because
Okay.
he was very reserved. He didn't want to put it out there.
Yep.
And then I think what prompted him was when he heard the other dude was going to write a similar idea that Charles Darwin came up. Like, to be fair, they were both coming up, but it was sort of like, no, he's not going to write that. I'll be able to send this in.
Yeah. Yeah. It's sort of like the race.
Yeah, it was the race, and if it wasn't for that letter, I think Darwin wouldn't have pushed forward his idea.
All right.
And
Okay.
it was also important because Charles, unlike the other dude, had weight to him.
Yeah.
Because, again, he was this 1800s upper class educator, Cambridge.
He had the prestige behind him.
Yeah, which is quite sad. Because the guy who was talking about it, he was trying to give this other dude credit as well.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, we got to remember this time. And I was like, no.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. Unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's what he said. It is what it is. But there was a lot of things that went in, and this is how science is.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate this guy didn't get the recommendation as well, but his work was also great. The butterflies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was butterflies I was looking at. But yeah, so this is it. So I'll read it. So I'll just read through this article.
Yeah. All good.
So the story of so I read the 2 paragraphs for you. So this is the third one in. The story of Darwin's 9-day visit to New Zealand is told in the Lydia Mons from the Writer's Notebook. Read 2006. On 21st December 1835, the Beagle anchored in the harbour, flanked by the grog shops and brothels of Kokorarika. What's this? Oh, Kororarika on one side, and the Church Missionary Society settlement at Pahi on the on the other side.
Right.
After a few uncomfortable days visiting these settlements, Darwin and Fitzroy were invited by the CMS missionary William Williams
Hmm.
to visit the Waimata mission station, 21 kilometers inland from Pahi. The journey was made on foot by boat, guided by a Maori chief, whose service were paid for by James Busby, the British residents. And he did up them up, but like
Yeah.
at Waimata, Fitzroy and Darwin were pleased to find an oasis of English civilizations complete with cups of tea and cricket on the lawn. Darwin approved of the Māori labourers and maids. The letters. This is for his leaders.
Yeah.
So this is the quote from him: "Clean, tidy, and healthily appearance,
Oh, yeah.
like that of the dairy maids of England, formed a wonderful contrast with the women of the filthy hovels in Kororareka, uh, Kororareka." So I guess that's that first place when he. So the area they got to
Yeah.
was he was a bit pleased.
Yeah, yeah. Finally,
Um,
finally some civilization.
yeah, and during his stay in New Zealand, Darwin collected insects, shells, fish, frogs, and geckos. His detailed observations were carefully recorded in his journal, The Beagle Expedition, which was published to much acclaim in 1839. He later wrote that the voyage had been by far the most important event in my life, and has determined my whole career.
Oh,
Quote.
cool.
But he did not remember New Zealand fondly. This is most annoying. So, like, if they put the whole I remember there's a whole paragraph,
Yeah.
but anyway, the country was unattractive. It's in. Oh, so I think this is his quote. Country. Yeah, like this is annoying. Like they do quotes and then they put this in, which is not quotes, telling me, but the acting as if that's what he wrote.
Oh, yeah. So they're just half-halving it.
Yeah, like I do remember that's what he said something like that,
Yeah.
but that's what not. I'll see if I can probably find that actual quote, but
Mhm.
yeah. So the country was unattractive. Its English inhabitants, apart from the missionaries at Waimata, were the very refuse of society.
Oh, yeah.
Quote. So that's the quote he used. Māoris lack the quote charming simplicity which is found in Tahiti.
Oh, yeah.
But I want the actual. Okay, this one's a bit better,
Right.
so I can tell which are quotes. Okay, New Zealand. So this is an article. Okay, Darwin was not attracted to New Zealand. He wrote.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is way better.
Okay.
That other one is disappointing. So this is a better article.
Yeah.
So New Zealand. Darwin was not attracted to New Zealand. He wrote 30th December 1850. I believe we were all glad to leave. It is not pleasant. Amongst the natives, there is absent that charming simplicity which is found at Tahiti. And of the English, the greater part are the very refuse of society. Neither is the country itself as it. I look back to one bright spot, and that is Waimata with its Christian inhabitants. Waimata, yeah. And so what? And they put in brackets to explain in depth. Waimata is documented as being NZ's first European-style farm.
Oh, yeah.
So, which kind of makes sense that during that time it was like whalers on the side
Yeah.
and things were
Yeah.
still jungly. Uh, so it's not like yeah.
He just wanted something similar to what he was used to.
Yeah. So this is what they say. Despite the negative impression of New Zealand, Darwin remained interested in the country. At the time of his visit, an epidemic of influenza amongst the Māori cause to consider that gave him cause to consider the then scientific mystery of contagion. The epidemic aside, Māoris were decreasing in number, and Darwin was concerned that this was contrary to the Malthus doctrine that population should increase in time of plenty. Um, in December 1843, Darwin wrote to Ernest Duffenbach, a German physician and naturalist working in New Zealand, who later translated Darwin's account of the voyages of HMS during HMS. Also, he did a second travel,
Right. Okay.
and HMS Beagles, which one we were reading up before, into
Yep.
German.
Oh, yep.
So this is a quote. I've lately been much interested in reading your chapter on the slow decrease in these poor people. The case appears to me very curious, especially as the decrease has commenced or continued since the introduction of potato. The relations between the amount of population and of food is hence inverted. It would have been a case for the great Malthus, Malthus to have reflected. So I'm actually interested in this doctrine
Yeah.
of population. Let's look it up.
Oh fuck. Oh fuck.
What happened?
Oh no, I just ran through a heavily over leveled area for me.
Oh
I'm
no.
level 29, and I was just trying to shortcut my way through to level 20, through to a lower level area, and yeah, no, I got fucking wrecked.
Oh.
It's all good. It ended up teleporting me close to where I wanted to go anyway, though.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Thomas Robert Malthus is a scientist, and
Right,
he created a doctrine, or what's called the Malthus doctrine, or the Malthus theory of population growth.
right,
Was first introduced in a 1798 publication titled "An Essay on the Principles of Population." It was developed by Thomas, an English scholar. Malthus' doctrine discussed population growth, food supply, and the events that occur when population reaches a number past that which be naturally sustained. He claimed that rapid population growth is dangerous because the supply of food and other resources grow at a much slower rate, causing population growth to become unsustainable. However, Malthus also claimed that there are ways to prevent unsustainability, which includes both action individuals could take and events that occur naturally to decrease population sizes to the sustained level. Though parts of his theory could still prove to be true, over the years there have been many criticisms of the Malthusian doctrine because of the lack of accounting for several elements. And I think that might be what Charles is picking up on with what was happening with the Māoris declining.
right. Okay, yeah.
Which quite make so. Uh, Contrary. Uh, meat patties and a spring roll.
Nice. Yeah, good, good.
Thanks, man. Yep. Just the one. Yeah. Thank you, man. So yeah. So Charles Darwin is,
Hmm.
I think. So yeah, basically, epidemics aside,
Yep.
Maldives were decreasing in numbers, and Darwin was concerned that this was contrary to the Malthus doctrine that populations should increase in time of plenty. So there's a lot of food there, but their numbers are dying out.
Yeah, for some reason they still weren't populating as much.
Yeah, I have lately. So that's his quote. I've lately been much interested in reading your chapters on the slow decrease in numbers of these poor people. The case appears to me very curious, especially as the decrease has continued since the introduction of potato. So I guess that the relationship between the amount of population and food is hence inverted. It would have been a case for the great Malthus to have reflect on. So,
Mm.
which makes sense. And then again, they were so. I guess what they were saying is, so you got a contagion, and then there's food is
Yeah.
a situation. And then another one. Darwin also observed a decline at the time in brackets of the
Yep.
Australian Aborigines, and commented, the variety of man seems to act on each other in the same way as different species of animals. Stronger always exacerbate the weak, extirpating the weak. This, I'm gonna put it on Google so I can hear it, how to
Yeah.
pronounce it. Extirpate. Extirpating. To destroy totally or kill off.
Okay.
Oh, shit. Is he saying the Australian Aborigine harsh to himself? Oof. So that's what he apparently written.
Okay.
Okay, want to hear about Australia?
Yeah, go on.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Okay, Australia. Darwin's impression of Sydney Port Jacksons were more positive, if a little. What's this? Sorry.
No, no, you're good.
Parochial. Of relating to a church parish. Of or relating to a parish as a unit of local. Very religious man, I guess.
Yeah.
Darwin's impression of Sydney and bracket Port Jackson were more positive, if a little parochial, than his impressions of New Zealand. 12 January 1836. At last, we anchored within Sydney Cove. We found a little basin containing many large ships and surrounded by warehouses. In the evening I walked through the town and returned full of admiration in the whole scene. It is most magnificent testimony of the British nation. Here, in a less promising country, scores of years have affected many times more than centuries in South America. My feeling was to congratulate myself that I was born an Englishman.
Good.
He also admired about with the considerable condescension Australians' indigenous population and compared them favourably to the Fuegians, the indigenous inhabitants of Terra del Fuego. Okay. Darwin was also eager to leave his ship and explore on shore. In the morning of the 16th, I set out my excursion to, in brackets, so they inputted. So heading towards to Bathurst.
Oh,
The
yep.
first stage took us through Parramatta, a small town, a small country town, but second to Sydney in importance. The roads appeared much frequented by all sorts of carriages. I met 2 stage coaches. In all these respects, there was most close resemblance to England. Perhaps the numbers of our houses was here is in excess, my English. Aye, our houses was here in excess. At sunset, by good fortune, a party of a score of at sunset, by good fortune, a party of a score of the Aboriginal blacks passed by, each carrying in their accustomed manner a bundle of spears and other weapon. By giving a leading young man a shilling, they were easily detained, and they threw their spears for my amusement.
Interesting.
So he's just, giving them shillings, and he's just watching them throw these spears.
Yeah, yeah.
They were all partly clothed, and several could speak a little English. Their countenances were good-humoured and pleasant, and they appeared far from such utterly degraded beings as usually represented.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah. And in their own art, they are admirable. Uh, a cat being fixed at 30 yards distance, they transfix him with the spears delivered by the throwing sticks, with the rapidity of an arrow from the bow of a practiced art.
Hmm.
And tracking animals and men, they showed most wonderful sagacity. What's this one? Sagacity. Okay.
Hmm. New
Wonderful
one.
sagacity, and I heard many of their remarks, which manifested considerable acuteness. They will not, however, cultivate the ground, or even take the trouble of keeping flocks of sheep which have been offered to,
Oh,
or
right.
build houses, and remain stationary. Nevertheless, they appear to me to stand some few degrees higher in civilization, or correctly, a few lower in barbarianism than the Fuegians. So he's comparing it. So the Fuegians are the group from the indigenous inhabitant of that archipelago now down the southern end of South America.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah, so he's comparing it to them.
Yep.
Um, so the southernmost tip of South America mainland across the Straits of Magellan,
Yep.
the archipelago consists of main islands. Yeah, that was that one I was reading before.
Right.
Oh, it's a nice little. Yeah. Oh shit. Be a nice place to go to be honest. I'll look if hopefully it's actually beautiful way.
Oh, yep.
It's the very southern tip, like these, like you know that little tail end that flips.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
all these islands dotted around,
Oh,
and
yeah.
sometimes you forget how big America is.
Oh, yeah.
Only thing I'm scared is hopefully there's no cartel down here.
No what?
Cartels.
Oh, probably everywhere.
Yeah, fuck yes.
Well, the thing is with them, normally they don't fuck with other people. Like it's very much just stay out of our way.
Yeah. Oh, they look cool. I'm just looking at the Fuegans.
Okay.
Yeah, very Aztec-y.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, like Native American.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like just that. How would you put it? That real Asian like as well.
Oh, right.
There's these picture drawings of them. And they look real African American,
All right.
and you know what that means.
Yep. Urakurai Vuzumata.
Yeah, yeah. The Native Americans were black.
Crime stats matter.
Yeah. They were Afro and they were as dark as me.
Ugh.
And then you can imagine what they're thinking. They're just thinking Jamie Foxx with a fucking bow
Yeah, yeah.
and just like having the like Aztec aesthetics. You know, just blackwash any fucking native
Yep.
culture. We was kings and we were natives and shit. The white man trying to put us down. You know, these fucking prick. But the actual. Oh, okay, that's fucking. That's definitely.
Oh, okay. Is it
No,
pretty
that.
good?
Just fucking, the white man propaganda drawing.
Yep.
Look at this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but
Yeah, no.
they usually look like that. But here's the proper photo of what they look.
Okay.
Amazonians. That's the word I was looking for.
Oh, yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And here's another one. I'm not sure if this is them, but this one is
Seeing
very
a
caveman
distinct lack of African features there.
like that,
Yeah.
bro. But then there's this fucking one. I'm just cracking up at it. And look at the writing of it. Fucking hell. This cracks me up. But you know for the fact there's going to be like the Wheel was Kings coming up.
Oh, wow. Go away.
And look at, oh, you can't really see it, but what it says at the bottom. A male savage of the Terra del Fuego, take, wearing necklaces, bearded belts, fur skins, and carrying a bow and arrow, hand-colored and copper-plated. Engraving from a drawing by Johnson. I don't know how to say his name. From I don't know. So those two words: Universal System of Natural History, 1794. So yeah, this is his interpretation of it.
Hmm.
And you know they're gonna run a mile with that one.
Yep.
Here's another apparently a drawing. This one cracks me up. And so don't laugh. Oh fuck no. Copy. Jeez. No. What? Looks like one of those draw. This one cracks me up, so don't laugh.
Oh, wow. Fuck off.
What do you reckon?
Like,
Oh, I mean, this new picture. I mean,
hmm.
this one here.
Oh, okay, okay.
I mean, they kind of do, eh?
Yeah, could do.
I mean, if you look at that one with the family, they look.
Oh,
I,
yeah,
I,
yeah, yeah.
I,
Compare it.
I don't want to be mad or sad, but like they look real caveman like.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you can see the forehead, the nose.
Yeah, like the kind of. I know it's stupid to say, but you know the Ice Age,
Yeah,
those humans.
yeah, yep.
And then here's another painting I think is maybe a more accurate. I don't. It's accurate or stylized, should I say?
Yeah.
Real Native American, like you know, like the Aztecs and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Oh well, that's enough looking at. So he's comparing it to those guys.
Okay.
So yeah, nevertheless, they appeared to me to stand some few degrees higher in civilization, or more correctly, a few lower in barbarianism
Mm.
than the Fuegan, which is oh, I guess good on them.
Yeah.
During his stay in Australia, Darwin never saw a kangaroo, but he did see several platypuses and kangaroo rat. Long-nosed portoroos, that's what they're called. He wrote on the 19th January 1836. In the depth of the evening, I took a stroll along a chain of ponds, which in this dry country represented the course of a river, and had the good fortune to see several of the famous platypus. Ah, yeah, which is called Orpheus hygnicus, and then the second part, which cracks me up, is called the Paradoxicus. Well, you don't even need to know Latin to know that probably means something about, like it was a conundrum to
Yeah.
find. Because you heard a story about the platypus at one time being considered a cryptid and a myth, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
They were They were diving and playing about the surface of the water, but showed very little of their bodies, so that they might easily have been mistaken for many water rats. They're quite cute. I want to grab one, but apparently, the male platypuses have venom.
Oh, yeah.
Kid you not. That's like one of the only mammals I could think of that can inject venom onto someone.
Yeah, yeah.
It's in their hind legs. They got the spike, and if it stabs you, it injects venom.
Okay.
Fucking weird, eh?
Mm.
Then again, they have a beak, so what can I say? They have a bill, I should say.
Yeah.
A duck bill. A little time before this, I had been lying on the sunny banks and was reflecting the strange character of the animals of this country as compared with the rest of the world. An unbeliever in everything beyond his own research, I exclaimed, surely two distinct creators might have been at work. That's an interesting quote. The object, however, has been the same, and certainly the end in each case is complete. That's an interesting take on what he said. So he's making those logics about the unbeliever.
Right, yeah.
Like, probably some of them, the argument saying, see, the different animals of two countries, like Australia, their animals are so weird
Yeah.
versus the rest of the world, therefore must be two creators.
Right, yeah, yeah.
So that's what he's just pondering to himself, and I could imagine that, like back in the time, someone did use their argument against anyone who believed in Christianity,
Yeah.
which is a fair argument to be
Yeah.
honest. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's interesting. That's fuck. That's funny. The fact that he's pondering arguments like
Yeah.
that. A little time before, yeah. Darwin observed an antlion larva with its conical pit entrapped an unwary fly and compared the larva with its European equivalent, he wrote. Now what would the disbelievers say to this? Would any two workmen ever hit on so beautiful, so simple, and yet so artificial a contrivance? It cannot be, thought so. The one hand has surely worked throughout the universe. So now he's trying to defeat that straw man.
Oh yeah.
Oh. And he's using it by using an antlion. Couldn't he just use fucking sparrows? Those fuckers were everywhere.
Oh yeah.
You think about it. Every fucking country has a Pidgeotto.
Yeah.
Pigeon.
Fucking hell.
Oh yeah. So an antlion. Yeah, I remember these guys.
Right.
So, type up antlion. Oh, I'll just send you pictures.
Yeah.
So the larvae form is this kind of creature. And what these fuckers evolved to in the Pokemon world, but metamorphosis in the real world.
Oh yeah.
Into these guys. So in Pokemon, they would have evolved at level 36 or something.
Oh, okay.
In our real world, in I think a couple of months or something.
Yeah.
To a year, they metamorphosis into that shit.
Okay.
And so what the larvae do, and this is a tricky thing.
Yep.
And that's why they're called the antlion.
Yeah.
So they make these little ground holes.
Oh, yeah, I see.
They sit in the middle, like a Sarlacc pit.
Yeah.
And the ants will come across, and it's usually ants that get targeted.
Okay.
They come across, and what makes it crazy in the sand is very loose, and when you're tiny creatures like that, it's sort of like standing on like loose gravel.
Yep.
And like you're on the edge, and that breaks and you fall over.
Yeah, right.
And when they start landing and they start crawling, because it's sand and it gets dislodged, and it's interesting. So what they do is they dig the hole and they start flicking loose sand on the corners, like around the rim.
Right. Yep.
So those sand are on. So it's not rough sand. It's on purposely like low sand. So even when they try to crawl, they keep falling back down.
Yep.
And they just attack and kill it.
Okay.
And that's how these guys sort of destroy. And what Darwin is comparing is the European world.
Yep.
As well as Australia, and those two are the same.
Yeah.
Or very much the same. So I know there's a lot of fucking pondering against that little fucking argument he made.
Yeah.
He's already got his answer with antlions. But just use fucking sparrows.
Yeah.
For God's sake. Oh, well, to be fair on his point, those sparrows can fly across. They can't, but maybe? No, they can't. Surely not. I'm pretty sure they don't have the capability to fly from, I guess, the New World, Europe, to America, to New Zealand and Australia. So far off. Maybe I'm underestimating those small guys, those small fellas, great feet. But I'm a cynical person.
Yeah, unlikely.
Yeah. But I'm willing to be proven wrong for those little fuckers. I have faith in them. You look at them, they're fat.
Yep.
When you sit there and go, there's no way they can fly that. But could prove us wrong.
Yeah, possible.
Possible. Yeah, just crack up. Now, what would the disbelievers say to this? Right, would any two workmen ever hit on so beautiful, so simple, and yet so artificial a contrivance?
Yep.
Contrivance. It cannot be thought so. Cannot be thought so. The one hand has surely worked throughout the universe. That fucking cracks me up.
Yeah.
That's his answer. Okay. Darwin has not. Darwin clearly had not developed his idea of evolution at this stage, and his fundamental religious belief, although questioned, remained intact. Despite the respite assured, Darwin was still unwell. The 3-year voyage was now in its 5th year, and from Port Jackson, Rob Fitzroy wrote the 26th of January 1836 to the naval hydrographer Captain Francis Beauf, some fucking French name.
Yeah. No, it's irrelevant if it's French.
It's like Beaufort.
Yeah, frog. Ribbit.
The officers who had commissioned the Beagle voyage, my messmate, Mr. Darwin, is so much the worse for a long voyage that I am most anxious to hasten as much as others are ailing and much requires that rest, which can only be attained at home. However, during the period which Darwin was not sick, he was capable of strenuous physical activity. His ride to Bathurst took place in January at the height of Australian summer. He returned to Sydney in 6 days, averaging 45 kilometres a day on horseback at temperatures of more than 40 degrees. This journey was not without cost, and Darwin was ill in bed for a day, and spent another day recovering at Wentworth for the return journey. Interesting.
Yeah.
In February 1836, the Beagle anchored in Hobart. Darwin climbed Mount Wellington, height 1,270 meters, in a day, after failing in a similar attempt the previous day with local guides. He recorded. It cost us 5.5 hours of hard climbing before we reached the summit.
Fucking hell.
After staying some hours on the summit, we found a better way to descend, but it did not reach the Beagle till 8 o'clock, after several days' work. He's a fit fucker, eh?
Yeah. Definitely impressive.
Yeah. From Hobart, HMS Beagle crossed the Great Australian Bight and made landfall at King George Sound. Darwin's seasickness continued, he noted on the 6th March 1836. Fuck, this must be a rough thing for him, just getting sick every now and
Oh,
then,
yeah,
eh?
just constantly fucking unwell.
And all he wants to do is look at bugs
Yeah.
and ponder straw man's about God. And the evening came to an anchor in the mouth of the inner harbour of King George Sound. Our passage has been a tolerable one, and what is surprising, we had not a single encounter with gale of wind. Yet to me, from the long westerly swells, the time has passed with no little misery. Yeah. There's a few more, but I just scrolled down. I think this is an interesting point.
Yep.
Which, again, what my teacher was saying to me, my lecturer was saying to us.
Right.
So there's a title
Sorry.
called Darwin. Oh no, that's all good. So it's the little subhead is called Darwin's illness.
Yep.
Darwin's negative impressions of New Zealand and Australia may have been influenced by his frequent illnesses, and he was certainly longing to return to England, which is quite true because before it said it's meant to be 3 years, but it's on the 5th year, so it's meant
Yeah,
to be a
true.
3-year voyage.
Yep.
And crossing the Great Australian Bight, he was once more overcome by seasickness. It is important to emphasize that Darwin's illness at sea was not normal seasickness.
Right.
It was present throughout the 5-year voyage.
Oh,
Even when
I hear some Darwin defending coming on there.
true.
No, he
Yeah,
wasn't
true.
just seasick.
Yeah, he's just like angry old fucker.
Special pleading, special pleading.
Even when the Beagle was in port, and if anything became worse as time passed, it was not a red herring as as has been proposed by whom.
Uh, well, I just find it funny that they're just protecting his honor.
Yeah. And that he's just not an angry old fuck.
Yeah.
This is a guy who paid a bunch of natives to throw spears for a shilling for his own entertainment and amusement. Nah, just it's good to give him shit.
Oh yeah.
Rather, it was an integral part of Darwin's illness, and an illness that troubled him severely for most of his life. Then how come he... if he was so sick, how could he climb that mountain?
Yeah.
Nor was seasickness the cause of his long life illness, as some of Darwin's colleagues thought. As described above, Darwin's illness was presented before he sailed on the Beagle. When he was ashore in South America and during his excursion from Sydney to Bathurst, and the worse than after he returned to England.
Mm.
I proposed that Darwin's illness was caused by cyclic vomiting syndrome. Okay.
Interesting.
See,
Sounds rather unpleasant.
yeah. Oh, the irony. Darwin found out natural selection, and yet it works against him.
Yep.
No, that's sad. That's fucking sad.
He's just going and he's like, fuck, I've got no way to refute this. I'm fucked.
Yeah. Natural selection happened upon me. What is this Greek tragedy? This Greek irony? Why is something I must discover affect me in the worst possible way?
It's fucking bullshit.
A little known, and this is the funny part, a little known but well-defined disorder linked to abnormalities of the mitochondrial DNA. So in other words, evolution and natural selection.
Yep.
Ugh, that's harsh. Although generally regarded as a childhood disease, CVS frequently persists into adults' life and may appear for the first time in adulthood. It is correctly termed a syndrome as people with CVS vary in their symptomology, depending presumably on the exact nature of the mtDNA, so the mitochondrial DNA,
Yep.
abnormalities, and the proportion of affected mitochondria. Collectively, patients with this disorder have the same range of rather bizarre symptoms experienced by Darwin. Many experience motion sickness and are limited in their ability to travel. CVS is characterized by periods without symptoms. Darwin traveled on horseback 400 miles, 600 kilometers, and in South America he crossed the Andes twice. In Australia, as mentioned earlier, he travelled more than 270 kilometres in 6 days on horseback with high temperatures and bush, and in Tasmania he climbed Mount Wellington.
Yep.
His illness at the time of his life was typical of CVS, episodes of illnesses are interposed with periods of completely normal. Later in life, episodes or cycles may be frequent, even confluent with other illnesses, weeks or months. Severe motion sickness is frequently a feature of the condition and may trigger, bringing on full cycle of nausea, retching, and vomiting, headaches, and abdominal exhaustion, both physical and mental, can bring on an episode, and it was probably physical exhaustion from horse riding and heat that caused Fine to be day trip back first. So yeah,
Oh, yeah.
just making up excuses, I
Yeah,
guess.
he's just soft, and they can't give it.
CBS, just another word for being a softie. Okay.
What is it? CBS.
CVS.
CVS. Ah, okay.
It stands for cyclic or cyclical vomiting syndrome.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Good thing it's not
Little
that.
bitch syndrome. Yeah.
Yeah. Good thing it's not CSS or the proper term will be CDS. Cyclic diarrhea syndrome.
Oh yeah.
Ugh. Imagine shitting yourself half to death every time.
Oh yeah.
Ugh.
Good weight loss treatment though.
Yeah, if you lose half your guts.
Yeah.
You shit yourself inside out.